if you walk down the streets of London, New York, Paris, Washington, D.C., you'll see, cities that are the results of certain ideas being put into practice, ideas that are, for the most part, pro-human, and that's why we have such great cities because they are good for the humans that live in them. But the humans that live in them don't always share the ideas that allowed these cities to you know come into being in the first place, and certainly the ideas that flourish that help them flourish. And if you look certainly in the past decade or so, there's something that isn't new, but has seen a rise, which is the so-called nonviolent protest. Which, if you'll see the one thing that's consistent about it, because you have nonviolent protests for different causes. The one thing that's consistent about every so-called nonviolent protest is that it is always violent in one way or another. People who actually are protesting in a nonviolent way don't typically make the point of calling it nonviolent. Here in London, we had Extinction Rebellion, we had Just Stop Oil, just blocking the road, not beating anybody up, but just blocking the road. You were on your way to work, you're on your way to pick up your kid from school, you're on your way to the hospital. They don't care. They're protesting nonviolently, and the media reported it as nonviolent protests. Then you had the campus intifada last year in Columbus, Columbia University, in Harvard, in other universities where students, among other things, held hands to block Jews from getting into the university they paid to study in. Uh, Smashed windows, smashed buildings, destroyed property, and attacked people, that was still reported as nonviolent protest. So it shouldn't really come as a surprise when you look at the manifesto of the murderer who killed two Jewish people for being Jewish in Washington, D.C. 2 days ago, that among the things he says in the long manifesto is something to the effect of armed demonstration. He considered this a protest, as do many of his supporters. We're going to talk about his supporters on the reality show, but we are going to talk more broadly about this idea that you can use force, but if your cause is one that the right people agree with, it will be, certainly the right people in the media, it will be presented as a nonviolent protest. That is a lie, and from that lie, you cannot expect to end up in a place that is better than where you got to before that lie. Welcome to the Daily Objective. I'm Razi Ginsburg. I'm joined by Daniel Kraus. Daniel, you're younger than I am. You have seen fewer nonviolent protests, but you have seen certainly what the environmentalists in London do and have been doing for the past few years, and you've seen the reporting of it. And do you see this connection that I see, or is it is it just me?
I mean, just generally, the use of language. I mean, we've seen the same thing with October 7th, right? It wasn't a terrorist attack, it was resistance. It's this sort of like trying to say that things are something that they are clearly not, has been ongoing for a while. We have seen, I mean, this whole sort of like block, as long as you don't sort of like engage in direct violence, somehow it's not violent. I mean, with Just a Ball specifically, they have been going into art galleries and, tearing down or, like throwing soup on stuff or tearing down those things. That's you're violating property rights. That's violence. You are using physical action to destroy property or to do something with property. When you block roads, that is absolutely violence. You are forbidding somebody from using a certain thing. You're forbidding somebody from, being able to like go through. We've seen the same thing on in many universities where Jewish students were blocked from basically accessing a certain areas or freely walking around. That's violence. Just because there is not like a direct sort of like fist fight or a slap or something doesn't mean it's not violence. Doesn't mean some rights were not um, attacked. And yeah, the idea that sort of let's say specific Colombia protests were non-violent is ridiculous. They occupied buildings. Police had to be called in. Even more recently, they occupied a library. And that they didn't have any permission to do it. That was absolutely violence. After the arrest of Mahmoud Khalil, they went and occupied Trump's one of Trump's hotels. That is absolutely a part of violence, and it has been consistently put down. It hasn't been put down. It has been sort of like there is a word for it, sort of like undermined that this is it's just peaceful protest. It's ridiculous. We've seen the same thing when it comes to sort of the enforcement of it, right? What happened? I made this on yesterday's reality show. I made this connection to one South Korean TV show which deals with juvenile courts, and one of the characters' problem with the way juvenile courts were is the kids were not punished, and so they went away from the court with basically saying, I can just do whatever I want because I won't get punished because of the way, in that show, specifically the way the law was set up. In this case, it's specifically the way the law and rules are enforced. Nobody, at least somebody might correct me, but nobody was blocked from graduating from Columbia, which for a while it was said like, oh, this might happen, and nothing happened. People were arrested from Colombia and nobody was charged with anything. Nothing happened. The only thing that happened now is, there are some deportation processes started, but that's just for, foreign students. This guy was not a foreign student. This guy was American. It's a homegrown terrorist. So the problem here wasn't even that this is some immigrants or something like that. It's the fact that the rules are not enforced for actual Americans. For many of those students, the ones who cannot be deported, though they are not being charged with anything, despite the fact that they did join those protests, join those violent protests. And so we are in this age of that basically rules no longer apply. Or, you might get arrested, but that's about it. You will be let go within a day.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird what happened with the deportations, particularly of the pro-Hamas people. That they were going to deport them and then they didn't, and now they're Harvard is no longer going to be allowed to issue student visas to the as of now. The recent announcement yesterday, including students who are already there for foreign students who are going to have to transfer to a different university if they want to stay in America. Uh, which doesn't sound like a rational solution to the problem at all, as far as I'm concerned. That's not a good policy. But yeah, why would students not do this? Like, what do you think the result of inaction in the face of the initiation of violence? What do you think that the result is going to be? It's not, it's not something that's never been tried before. It's something that's seemingly tried much more than the alternative, and the result is always the same. Uh, Thank you, Shauna, for the super chat. Shauna says, "Did you see that Ilhan Omar refused to condemn the murders?" I didn't. I'm not surprised. Maybe I even did. I'm not even sure. I don't think that would kind of stick out to me. I did see the party itself. A tweet from a party that he used to be a member of that kind of rose to prominence again around this, and I saw a tweet from them saying we do not support this. So yeah, I haven't seen many on the left condemn it. We're going to talk about where the how the pro-Palestinian movement is split around this, because they are split, but we're going to talk about that in the reality show. Thank you, Jonathan, for the super chat. Thank you, Bonnie, for the super chat. PB Law says Zionist is commonly code for Jew by haters. Yeah, I think that's how it's most commonly used nowadays. Zionists call themselves Zionists, and then other than that, anybody who uses the name probably means that they want Jews dead. Uh, okay, I had something. Oh yeah, uh, Davy Boy is saying that this Sunday the police are permitting the Hamas crowd to demonstrate against the March for Israel in Toronto. I mean, I've said I'm generally against the idea of marching on the street. You are blocking the roads for others. It doesn't matter if your cause is good or bad, but it does say something about Canada. And remember, this is yeah, Toronto is it's not the capital. It's not far from the capital of the country that is a signatory to a statement that was made a few days ago that Hamas approved of. So. Yeah, it's the pro-Hamas can be a pro-Hamas slash pro-Carney protest or demonstration. I don't see why they're protesting because their government is doing something that Hamas is happy with. Are they considering Hamas not Palestinian enough? Thank you, Christian, for the super chat. Christian says in Berlin at Humboldt University, students put up a picture of Yaron Dushinsky with a red triangle over it and the words "Make Zionists Afraid." It makes me sick. Yes, this will inspire copycat attacks. In a sense, I'm surprised that this only happened now. I mean, it's not the first time since October 7th that pro-Israel people are murdered. But it's the first time it's done, I think, in this way in the US at least, where somebody actually went with a gun, planned and shot them, I think 20 something times, right? So yeah, Daniel.
Yeah, and it should be mentioned, executed them. I think the woman was trying to sort of like leave, and he went back and basically shot her in the back again just to make sure that she was dead. So there is no excuse for this. We'll talk on the reality show about, some people are trying to say this was a false flag, which again is absolutely disgusting. Somebody in the chat says the guy was Hispanic, Trump should deport him. I believe he's an American citizen, so he should get a death penalty. This is a federal charge, absolutely.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
And generally, stop counting on El Salvador to do your work for you, and what they're doing is not your work. It's yeah. You think prisons in the U.S. are too nice? Make them less nice. Maybe not El Salvador level. Keep the rule of law and due process. And yeah, this guy deserves his day in court and deserves his day on the chair.
Yeah, and absolutely, this needs to happen. Now, somebody mentioned Ilhan Omar. I haven't seen if she actually did comment. What I've seen is she refused to comment when she was asked about it. She was asked by reporters, and she pretty much said something like, "I'm gonna go now." So she refused to comment. I checked both her ex and her ex, formerly Twitter, of Ilhan Omar, as well as Rashida Tlaib's. Both of them still do not have anything about it. Their latest thing is the Trump's budget that was just
Has
passed.
her ex has her ex commented on it?
I have no idea if they have any. Um, Now the AOC did comment on it and has condemned it, so good for her. But yeah,
Not good for her. Come on, you can't be responsible for promoting. I'm not going to say inciting. I don't think she's committing any crimes, but promoting ideas that are going to lead to this. Shaking hands of people who say kill all Zionists, because she did that during the Columbia protest, and then say, "Oh, when the consequences come in, I'm going to pretend that this is not what I meant." No, it means nothing. You are part of the problem, AOC, and the rest of the squad and the rest of the anti-Israel crowd in America.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that these people are in the actual legislature of America is scary and should scare people. Should scare people that are. I mean, I think the squad has been sort of losing influence in some ways. So maybe good in that regard. I think they've lost. I think one of them at least lost the seat. But yeah, if in the next election they all get through, that's a scary part. I mean, people might forget about, people think very recently, so unless something happens, people might forget about it. But absolutely, this is this is like super disturbing. I had one more note here, and now I cannot decide what the hell is this. Um,
Well, I can read the super chat
Sure, yeah.
while you look for it. Thank you, Shauna, for another super chat. Shauna says, apparently ICE has also been raiding immigration courts. We do need to protect our citizens, but some of the enforcement is not kosher, in my opinion. No, it's uh, not kosher. It's also not addressing the real problem. You know, the real problem is uh, well, the real problem is bad ideas and the policies that follow. And yeah, in the US, again, if you had a strong criminal justice system where if you actually commit a crime, you suffer for that. And if you had no welfare, or at least no welfare for immigrants as a start, then you very much get the immigrants that you want and need, because immigration is a good thing, you know. But yeah, Daniel.
Uh, Again, somebody said revoke his citizenship. I wouldn't give that, so that's not possible. That you cannot. Only in like extreme cases when it comes to like treason is that you can even sort of like revoke actual U.S. citizens as opposed to naturalized U.S. citizens. With naturalized, it's a bit different. But yeah, with actual like citizens, cannot revoke. And I wouldn't want the government to have like that. There is no need for this. We like America, despite Trump's outsourcing of most of the justice system, America has a pretty robust justice system that can deal with terrorists, with domestic terrorism, or can deal with this sort of things. This guy should get his trial and then either, I mean, life at minimum and possible sort of like death sentence. Like there is no reason to like try to do anything different with this.
Um, yeah, he went there in order to do this. He did it. He then pretended to be an eyewitness, waited for for the cops to show up, uh, made it clear that it's him. There's absolutely zero reason I can see why he would not get the death penalty, and there's also zero reason I can see why it shouldn't be televised. And I suggested yesterday on the in the chat, we're happy to stream it here on Ayn Rand Center UK. We might need to set up a US entity because I don't think the UK law allows us to live stream that. But yeah, it's yeah, this person does not deserve to live, and it should be you know, often when people are on death row, it takes forever. It should be done, and it should be done uh, quickly enough to show the copycats what's in store for them, because this guy is in a sense a copycat of, you know, of the murderer of Brian Thompson. And that guy is super popular. He is a massive, massive star in America. And I guess this guy was jealous and in part and thought, okay, this is gonna make me a star with these people. And yeah, we need first of all, it would be good if you know, the people like that, in where possible, are not apprehended, as in not as in they get away, as in you know, they're armed, so you know, taken down. But anyway,
No,
life is not.
no, it should be done like this. If he was just sort of like killed in a gunfight or something, I think he would be much more sort of like martyred or sort of. This needs to be clear cut. This guy like televised the death, his death for all I care. But
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. This.
yeah, but to me, yeah, okay, the optics of it would be different. I don't care. That's not the point. For me, the point is the people who are actually going to do it, not the people who are going to then tweet about it, whatever they tweet about it, and you know, they tweet something different if he was already dead. It's yeah, people like that need to know that this is the end of their life if they do that. And you know, they should know that even if they're unsuccessful. So I think anybody who's, you know, who attacks, hopefully there will be enough protection for people who know they're going to be attacked, that allows such people taken to be taken down. Um, Thank you, Shazbot, for the super chat. Shazbot says, "What are these crown numbers appearing in the chat? Am I going insane? Is this Twin Peaks?" No, this is a new thing that YouTube did. It's not us, but I like it. Yeah, I don't know exactly what gets you the first, second, or third. It's some combination of how much you post in the chat and how much you super chat, which is a great reason, among others, to do a lot of both. Another reason is commenting more gets helps with the algorithm, means that more people will see this content, and supporting us means that we can keep doing what we're doing and do more. Thank you, Apollo Zeus, for the super chat. Daniel.
Yeah, so I had crowns in my notes, and I was trying to decipher why the hell did I put in crowns. And yeah, I wanted to comment because Shazbot was talking about this earlier. Yeah, it's a sort of like a new badge you can get depending on how popular or sort of like how much you interact with the stream. And if you super chat, you get like more. Yeah, those are our biggest fans basically, and it resets every live stream, so you can every live stream you have a chance to become a number one fan. We'll try to figure out if we can do something with that. um, so yeah, I mean, going back, like this guy, there is no like justification. There is no way, and people are already trying to justify it, are trying to sort of find like old tweets or sort of recent tweets of the pair, because you know they were diplomats, so they did comment. I think actually, you're on the is it? Do you know if it's Lichinsky or Lishinsky?
Lashinsky.
Lishinsky. So he actually retweeted Aitan Fishburger's one of his comments in the past, where it was a like a short video of Hamas operating from civilian areas. So and somebody retweeted that with something like, "This guy is, you know, because of him retweeting this guy like deserves to be killed." It's absolutely abhorrent. Like you cannot. There is no justification for any of this. This guy yelled "Free Palestine" when he was getting arrested. There is no sort of way to get out of it. He didn't even like the fact that he did it so openly. He let himself get arrested. He didn't resist arrest in any way. He didn't resist afterwards. The fact that we have people who are so confident to do something like that, and uh, he absolutely has no regrets. So I'm really hoping that when the trial happens, he there will be like no sympathy he gets. I There is no way he could get sympathy in any way. This was premeditated. He made a manifesto before doing this. Um, he was prepared for it. I think, at least from some of the recent things I've seen in the reports, is he apparently sort of like, I think he was targeting this specific couple. So we have even that. But yeah, it's yeah,
What? Sorry, what? There was a report that he targeted this specific couple.
yeah, like he followed them, like he
Oh, not
yeah.
targeted as in knew who they were, planned in advance to kill them, but targeted as in looked around who the people were because he was back walking back and forth and then saw these two and decided these are the Jews I'm going to make an example of, basically.
Yeah. Now
Yeah.
we might learn more in sort of like upcoming days, or especially when there is an investigation or when there is something more. So we'll have to see.
Thank
What's up?
you. Thank you, Diego, for the way off topic super chat. I'm gonna give Daniel like 20 seconds to say what he has to say about this, and then we go back to the topic. Diego says, Dan, can you explain to me the difference between the various versions of anarchy in the context of nominalism, please? Thank you, gentlemen, for the stream.
Yesterday I was doing a live stream with a friend, and there was this guy who calls himself like anarcho-objectivist or something like that, and he had like 2 hour video of it where he said that anarchy is a society without aggression, and then went on like a 20-minute rant on nominalism and never explained the first part. So maybe if I do another live stream, we can do the whole thing. But yeah.
And Stedman asks, more to the point, to Razi and Daniel, although I'm not sure I have an answer, but please comment on how the shooter was allowed entrance to the venue and treated kindly until identified. Security? Uh, Good question. I mean, there's something, problematic about the fact that wherever anything remotely Jewish is going on, you need a bunch of armed security and you need to look at everybody as a suspect. especially look, I'm all for like racial profiling at airports and in places like this, but the racial profiling in this case would not have helped. So yeah, it's what needs to be done is the civilized side of this needs to be on the attack. Like we need to find these people before they do this. We don't need to make sure that there's armed security everywhere. Yes, we need that, but first and foremost, these people need to be found. And look, here's my point about the organization that he was a part of, other organizations like this, and I've brought this up before in the context of free speech, but I'm going to give the example of NAMBLA, the North American Man Boy Love Association. They advocate for the legalization of sexual relationships between grown men and young boys, and legally they're allowed to advocate for it. But in terms of the government's role in preventing crime, I would like to think that the government, has these people on some sort of watch list or at least looks into them in case maybe they're living as if the change in the law that they would like to see is already happening. The same thing, I think everybody in the pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian movement, the whole Free Palestine, yeah, tweeting Free Palestine means uh, government should consider the possibility that you might be a danger to innocent civilians and not just Jews, by the way, but specifically Jews. So, yeah, it's time to start looking into these people, believe that they mean what they say, and they might act on it. Parting thoughts, Daniel?
Uh, so yeah, yeah, I don't know how he was sort of like able to get away with. My understanding was that he was sort of like this happened outside of the museum, which means just sort of like on the street. Um, yeah, so I don't know how I mean we'll like when it comes to this part, I would just wait to see when we there is investigation where we know more about this. Sort of it's kind of pointless to speculate.
Well, what it's not pointless to speculate about is the culture behind this, and the response of the pro-Hamas side to this in the West. That will be the topic of the reality show, which starts in a couple of minutes. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.